Hi everybody, it's Andrea from Chronic Matters. I thought I would pop on today and update on my most sort of pressing medical issue that I haven't really touched on much on my channel, but is what's kind of making my life the hardest at this point. So when I got diagnosed with POTS from the cardiologist, he wanted to run some other tests that could be an underlying cause of why my heart rate had increased so much. It happened overnight when I got long COVID, but there were still some underlying things that I suppose could have caused it, or maybe COVID could have flared inside of my body, which I assume might be really what's happening. But I did a 24-hour urine collection, and it was for 5IAHH. I could be wrong in the order that those letters go, but basically it's a 24-hour urine collection that is looking for a hormone that is secreted at higher levels in a population that has something called neuroendocrine tumors. And neuroendocrine tumors are different from something called carcinoid syndrome. And carcinoid syndrome is basically just when those particular neuroendocrine tumors secrete so much hormone that you go into the syndrome component of it. In any case, I don't think I was expecting any of my lab results to come out higher than they should be, but I tested positive for having this hormone secreting in me at a higher level than it should be, which would be indicative of neuroendocrine tumors. So the first reaction was to assume that it was in my lungs because of how much trouble I've been having with oxygenation. So it's rare for people to have a primary neuroendocrine tumor present in their lungs, but it isn't unheard of. Normally, the primary neuroendocrine tumor presents itself in the bowels, either in your ileum or your just other areas inside of the bowel. Sorry, Gus is distracting me here. I presented with a lump. It was a little further in from my hip bone, so a little bit more medial. Okay, lateral is the outside away from your center. Medial is like towards your center. So if my hip bone is lateral from my body, medial means it's a little bit like closer towards my belly button. So I had a lump about 2 inches by an inch that I noticed probably a decade or so ago. I took it to my doctor and I said, look, I have this lump that I can feel. It doesn't hurt or anything, but I have this lump and it was about 2 inches by an inch. And he said, I think it's just scar tissue from your most previous pregnancy. And I had had my daughter like a year prior to that. So that didn't seem right to me at the time, but I kind of let it go because it didn't hurt and sort of went on with my life. And I figured if it was going to turn into anything, it would do it down the road, and then it would present itself, kind of like a car. If a car breaks, then it'll present itself. So fast forward to April of 2022 when I got sick. This particular spot is starting to hurt anytime I have a bowel movement go by it, like hurt a lot. So when they said, you've tested positive for what we believe would be neuroendocrine tumors, it sort of made sense, because if it usually starts on the inside of the bowel, and I had a mass in my, what would seem like my bowel area, then I wasn't overly surprised. They did an emergency CT scan to make sure it wasn't in my lungs, which it wasn't, and I was diagnosed at the time with like mild emphysema and some atelectasis, which means just like a little bit of collapsing of my lung, but it wasn't significant. And I don't smoke, so the emphysema is probably from childhood when people were still smoking in the house and that sort of thing. Sorry, I was just checking on Ruby. She's eating something. Anyway, so I didn't have them in my lungs, which means best chances are it's in my bowel somewhere. And my stomach has been just getting more and more distended, and I've been getting more and more symptoms. When they're in your bowel, you tend to get like severe diarrhea, a lot of bloating. You can get nausea, vomiting. I haven't been vomiting, but let me tell you, do I ever have nausea? And they can stay primary, and you know, not grow anywhere else, but they can also spread to your liver, to your pancreas, to your adrenal glands, to your kidneys, up to your lungs. But they're very slow growing tumors. So like out of all of the tumors that you could have, or out of all of the cancers that you could have, it's a better version to have because they do respond fairly well to treatment and surgery. If you can surgically remove them, they're 100% curable. I have so many symptoms, and my symptoms are getting worse and worse and worse. And that tells me that I'm either in the carcinoid syndrome or the tumors are growing now quicker. And they can grow quickly once they kind of like, you know, start the cycle and really progress. A lot of times they're caught on scans for other reasons, and people have no idea that they have the neuroendocrine tumors. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Ruby has decided that she was gonna try to chew on Gus, and she just bit me. She's trying to get him to play, and they knocked the Ruby, stop. Anyway, I can't edit these videos. I'm too exhausted, so we're just gonna have to leave that little bit of blurb in the video. So, the symptoms have been getting a whole lot worse. I've started to develop allergies to things that I'm not normally allergic to. I had been taking Gravol because I'm so nauseated, and now I'm allergic to Gravol. Like, I'm just getting rashy and itchy with Gravol. So, my internal medicine specialist said that he would meet me at the hospital yesterday, which was the holiday Monday in Canada for Thanksgiving. And I know United States hasn't had theirs yet, their Thanksgiving, but we in Canada have ours a little early. So he met me there, and I technically have the CT for my abdomen booked on Friday. So he did a whole bunch of labs, and my ionized calcium was low. You have two types of calcium inside of your body, ones that are connected to proteins and then like in bones and that sort of thing. And then you have an ionized one that is basically free floating inside of your body, and it's responsible for a lot of your body's basic functions. Mine is low, but not so low that I would need like an infusion in the ICU or anything like that. And my labs weren't quite out enough to make a case for moving the CT scan up by 4 days. So I'm going to have to wait until Friday. At this point, I have a feeling that they're going to come back with the one lump that I'm fully anticipating based on there being a lump in there and pain now going in the exact same spot. Also, I'm expecting them to be on my adrenal glands, because depending on where they are, they give you completely different symptoms. If they're on your liver, you have different symptoms than if they're on your like pancreas, which is different symptoms than if they're on your adrenal glands. I'm gaining weight like crazy, even though I'm not eating anything, and I'm down to basically a full liquid diet. And so all the symptoms that I've been able to piece together kind of state that they're going to be on my adrenal glands. It's presenting almost as if I have Addison's disease, and so I have like a Buddha belly, like my stomach. It's always been able to bloat to like this unimaginable size, and it'll get rock hard as if I'm like 9 months pregnant. And I've been asked before if I'm like, oh, are you pregnant? And oh, what is it, a girl or a boy? And I'm going, oh my gosh, no, it's just something weird that my stomach does. But in any case, Ruby, stop, please. She likes to bark when she gets mad. Or want something. Anyway, so the low ionized calcium can be parahypothyroidism, but it can also be like, that can be triggered. Usually, your not prolactin, sorry. It's not going to come to my mind. It just won't right now. Prolactin is stuck in my head, and that's absolutely not the right one. Anyway, it tends to make this other hormone in your body go up, and then the calcium go down, or it can be caused by Addison's disease. Well, I don't think I have Addison's disease. I think I have neuroendocrine tumors on my adrenal glands, which is making my body think it has Addison's disease, which is thus giving me this hypothyroidism. Well, that's a mouthful. Anyway, I find out on Friday, if I have, these new neuroendocrine tumors in me. I fully anticipate that I will have one. There is a drug that I was taking that I'm weaning off of, duloxetine, it is part of a class of drugs that can cause your body to secrete too much of this hormone and give a false positive. I would assume I wouldn't have every darn symptom of the neuroendocrine tumors if this was the case. So I'm fully anticipating that they will come back and say, you have a neuroendocrine tumor, in this left spot in my abdomen. And based on like the other kind of weird symptoms I'm having, I get the feeling that they're going to tell me that I have it also on my adrenal glands. Just because it's the only thing that presents like Addison's disease. And, like if I haven't had solid food and yet I'm still gaining weight and I'm getting like super puffy and all of those sorts of things, it certainly speaks to having them on my adrenal glands. So I will update when I know more. Ideally, this type of cancer, surgery is the first option if it's possible. If you could take out the entirety of the tumor and good margins, it could be 100% curative. The problem comes when it's in a complex spot where they can't fully remove it surgically, or when it has spread to more than one location, in which case then radiation is your next step, and the last option is chemotherapy. And if it's spread and has moved to other places, I believe that automatically puts you at a stage 3, possibly a stage 4. And then I just found out actually that Steve Jobs died of, I always knew he died of pancreatic cancer, but I didn't realize that it was a neuroendocrine tumor that was the type of cancer that he had. So that's kind of interesting. But of all the surgery, or of all the tumors that you could have, of all the different types of cancers that you could have, this would be a better version. So I'm just gonna kind of wait it out. I'm very, very sick in the meantime. If you have any questions, I'm happy to make a follow-up video, you know, more specific to this, but that is basically what's keeping me down right now, is being, if you were to look up neuroendocrine tumors and the like symptoms, you would see all the symptoms, and there's a ton of symptoms, and it's enough to take down a horse. So that I'm not doing very much these days because I'm just that sick. So I thought I would do this little update from bed. I'm sorry about my dogs interrupting. Feel free to ask any questions. At some point I will make that second video all about how the testing went for you know, the oxygen therapy, which was a previous video that I've made. And there's a bunch of other ones on my YouTube that talk more about some of the other conditions that I have. But currently, neuroendocrine tumors are the top of the list, and I would like them to go away. Have a wonderful day, guys. Leave a comment if you'd like to ask a question, or just so that my video can reach more people. Have a great day. Bye.